Welcome to our channel, where we delve into the world of intrigue, glamour, and power. If you haven't already, do subscribe for more fascinating stories like this one. As we embark on this journey, let's consider an interesting phenomenon that's impossible to ignore: the unending fascination with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Despite the criticism and controversy, the public's interest in them seems to be, well, unending. Now, isn't it fascinating how critics claim they're uninterested, yet they consume every piece of content about the couple? They read every article, comment on every post, and refresh for updates. Interesting, isn't it? They claim it's all a PR stunt. They say they don't care about them. But yet, they're always there, always interested, always commenting. The irony is as thick as a London fog. They could ignore it, scroll past, focus on something they actually like. But no, every single time, like clockwork, they're here, they're involved, they're invested. It's like watching a favourite show, except they pretend to hate it. Yet deep down, they care, they can't look away. It's a classic case of love to hate or hate to love, I suppose. It's this unending fascination, this irresistible allure that keeps Meghan and Harry in the spotlight. And let's be honest, it's not just about them. It's about power, glamour, and intrigue. And here's the best part. Other people see right through this nonsense too. They call out the hypocrisy. They point out the double standards. They see the unending fascination for what it is, an obsession. So if you find yourself captivated, yet claim to be uninterested, perhaps it's time to admit that you too are drawn to the irresistible allure of Meghan and Harry. Whether you love them or love to hate them, they've got your attention. And that, my friends, is the power of unending fascination. So, if you find yourself captivated, yet claim to be uninterested, perhaps it's time to admit that you too are drawn to the irresistible allure of Meghan and Harry. Here's a story that might have you reconsidering your stance on Meghan and Harry. Let's take a trip down memory lane to when Southern California was ravaged by devastating wildfires. Amid the crisis, a beacon of hope emerged in the form of Avery Colvert, a 14-year-old who started a relief effort to help her neighbours. Her courageous initiative could have ended there, but guess who stepped in to fan the flames of her noble cause? Yes, none other than Meghan and Harry's Archewell Foundation. And they didn't just show up for a photo op or to make headlines. No, they provided real, tangible help. The foundation's support meant Avery's relief effort wasn't a fleeting moment of charity, but rather the birth of a fully functioning non-profit, Altadena Girls. The Archewell Foundation didn't just offer funding. They provided resources, mentorship, and connections to ensure Avery's vision could continue long after the wildfires were extinguished and the news cameras had moved on. But let's pause for a moment and consider the cynics among us, those who whisper behind their screens, "It's just PR, it has to be." Well, to those skeptics I say, look closer. Meghan and Harry didn't just make a public donation and walk away. They invested time, energy, and resources into turning a teenager's passion into a sustainable initiative. They stepped in when the world was looking elsewhere, and they stayed long after the headlines faded. And let's not forget, this isn't a one-off event. Meghan and Harry have consistently shown their commitment to causes that matter, from mental health to women's rights, from racial equality to youth empowerment. So, are these acts of kindness or just PR? You decide. But remember, true kindness is not about how much you give, but how much love you put into giving. And from where I stand, Meghan and Harry's actions seem to be woven with threads of genuine compassion and commitment, not just the fabric of public relations. Now, isn't that a perspective worth considering? But let's not forget, not everyone is swayed by these acts of generosity. It's interesting, isn't it? How some people are so quick to dismiss Meghan and Harry's charitable efforts as mere public relations stunts. Yet when other royals engage in similar actions, they're hailed as selfless and compassionate. The double standards are stark and noticeable. Let's take a look at some social media comments that perfectly illustrate this bias. We have at Justice for Meghan saying, "Imagine hating someone so much that even helping wildfire victims is PR. Get help." It's a valid point, isn't it? Why is it that when Meghan and Harry extend a helping hand, it's viewed with suspicion, while others are praised for far less? Then we have at Royal Tea Watcher commenting, "The double standards are insane. Kate gives a 10-second hug-a-thon and it's angelic. Meghan funds an entire non-profit and it's PR." This sharp observation cuts through the hypocrisy like a knife. It's as if Meghan and Harry are held to an impossibly high standard that no one else is expected to meet. And let's not forget an actual journalist who points out, people love to claim they don't care about Meghan, yet here they are, commenting under every post, refreshing for updates. Fascinating behaviour. It's quite telling, isn't it? Those who shout the loudest about not caring seem to care the most. Meghan's supporters are standing up and pushing back against this blatant double standard. User Meghan deserves better questions. Why do Kate's fans spend more time talking about Meghan than Kate? You'll need a new hobby. It's a fair question, and one that further highlights the hypocrisy we're seeing. So let's call it what it is, a double standard. A glaring, unfair, and quite frankly, tiresome double standard. Meghan and Harry deserve better. They deserve to be recognised for their actions, not dismissed because of who they are. The double standards are glaring, and Meghan's supporters are calling it out. But here's the twist. The very critics who claim to be uninterested cannot seem to look away. You see, there's a certain irony here. These critics, they're like moths drawn to a flame. They claim to have no interest, yet they're the first to consume every bit of Meghan and Harry content that comes their way. They pore over every article, dissect each image, and tune into every broadcast. They do this not because they're fans, but because they're critics. The question is, why? Why do they dedicate so much time and energy to something they supposedly despise? The answer, my dear listeners, is simple. Obsession. Yes, obsession. It's a strong word, isn't it? But there's no other way to describe it. They are obsessed with Meghan and Harry. They are consumed by their lives, their actions, and their decisions. They're intrigued by their every move, and they can't help but comment, criticize, and share their opinions. And here's the fascinating part. These critics, they're not just passive observers. No, they actively participate in discussions, debates, and sometimes even heated arguments. They're not just spectators, they're players in this game. They're a part of the narrative, whether they like it or not. But let's not forget, this obsession doesn't come without a cost. Every minute spent reading an article, every second spent formulating a response, every moment spent refreshing a page for updates, it's time. Time that could be spent doing something else, something they actually enjoy. So to these critics, I say this: it's okay to be interested. It's okay to be curious. It's even okay to disagree. But when your interest turns into an obsession, when your curiosity turns into a compulsion, when your disagreement turns into disdain, perhaps it's time to take a step back. Perhaps it's time to evaluate why you're so invested in the lives of two people who, let's face it, probably don't even know you exist. So, if you're one of these critics, maybe it's time to admit that you're not just interested, but obsessed. So, what's the takeaway from all this? We've traversed across the digital landscape, from the critics' relentless obsession to the double standards that are as clear as day. We've seen that even when Meghan and Harry step up to make a difference, their actions are belittled as mere public relations stunts. But isn't it fascinating? The critics who claim to disdain every move Meghan and Harry make, yet they can't seem to look away. They read every article, leave comments on every post, and refresh for updates. It's like they're magnetically drawn to them. They're hooked on the drama, the intrigue, the narratives. They're engrossed in a tale they claim to despise, yet can't seem to tear their eyes away from. And let's not forget the glaring double standards. The disparity in the reactions to Meghan and Harry's actions versus others is nothing short of astonishing. It's as if the scales of judgment are heavily tilted, favouring some while harshly scrutinising others. Meghan and Harry fund an entire non-profit, and it's dismissed as PR. Yet, a fleeting moment of kindness from others is hailed as angelic. This imbalance is not just unfair, it's downright perplexing. But perhaps the most intriguing part of all this is the critics' denial of their obsession. They claim they don't care, yet they're the first ones to jump into the fray, sharing their unsolicited opinions. Their actions speak volumes about their fascination, even as their words try to deny it. The irony is rich, the hypocrisy is palpable, and the obsession is undeniable. Meghan and Harry, despite the criticism and the double standards, continue to make a difference in their own way. They are undeterred, focused on their mission to help and inspire. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Until next time, keep watching, keep commenting, and maybe, just maybe, admit that you care.